All right, so this is our community office hours for the package stage at GitLab. Today we're going to be talking about a potential implementation with Cargo, which is the package manager for Rust. One of the reasons I'm particularly interested in this issue is because it was opened only about 2 months ago, and it went from 0 votes to over, I think it's over 90 now. So it's a really good sign that the community is really active and that people are really interested in adding the feature. Um, and then I, through the issue, talked to Renee a bit about maybe contributing, and it can be a little bit intimidating when you're just looking at the documentation and maybe some of the existing MRs. So I thought it would be helpful to get Steve on a call and kind of talk through how the process has worked in the past, and also like be available for any questions and support. So
Cool. Yeah. So, I mean, really, the cool thing is with working as contributing to GitLab is you can kind of be as involved, or we can be as involved or uninvolved as you'd like in helping with the merge request. I think like the way I like to look at it is kind of, if you're interested in the Cargo package manager, like hopefully you are or are excited to be somewhat of an expert on Cargo and kind of learn the ins and outs of how it works. And then um, certainly myself or anyone else on this package team can act more as the expert on the GitLab side of things to be able to help understand, what pieces need to be attached where, and like kind of, help out with like some of those little smaller things like how to structure code, what kind of tests we are looking for, where things get connected to authentication, and sort of just help out with those types of things that might not be as apparent. Um, and when it comes to how involved we are, I mean, if you want to like kind of work through and learn all of those things, that's awesome. And we'll kind of like coach you through and help as much as possible. Or if you get to the point where you're like, the auth system is really weird and it'd be nice if, you guys could just help figure this out. I'm happy to jump in and make some commits to the merge request myself, and help in any way possible to just make sure we keep it moving, and that everyone's helping provide like something valuable that's going to create some excitement.
Cool. Yeah, so I'm really excited to work on this feature because I use Rust at work, so it's gonna help a lot in in different aspects. For sure, this is my first project that I'm working on that's coded in Ruby, so I'm still at the same time as I'm as I'm learning how GitLab is made, I'm also learning Ruby, so this is going to be fun. um, but yes, I'm very excited to see how it works and how to set this all up.
I
For the
think
contribution on your side, how much mentoring I'll need, we'll see as we go, I guess.
I was going to say that I think our last contribution, the person didn't know Ruby when they started either, and now being on the other side of it, it's in maintainer review, and they're kind of saying, "Well, it was a great chance to learn Ruby," and to a lot of I know the merge requests can be tough at GitLab at times, going through maintainer review, but at the end of it, they came out and they're like, "I've really learned a lot," and they were able to. I think they got a lot of mentoring from another person on our team, Gigi, which is really nice. Did you have any questions, Renee, before we started, or that Steve can or myself can help with?
Um, yeah, so I was really wondering. So I was able to set up the GitLab development kit. I don't seem to have it running at the moment for some reason, but yeah, so I was trying to implement it, going through the like I said in the issue. I was trying to base myself off Conan, which seems to use JSON to manage the different versions, package versions, to which is very similar to Cargo, to see how it interacts. And there was there seems to be a lot of different files to change. So just to have like a pointer of what files need to be changed, what files need to be created. Where do I set up the API? Because the Cargo really set up a very strict API for any alternative registries.
Yeah,
So,
I can definitely help with a lot of that. And really, and I'll be sure to kind of, post this in the issue, or if you have a merge request open, some of the specific links to these files. But the API, like the sort of the starting point, is in the sort of the EE directory, and then the lib directory and API. And so that's sort of where you're probably going to create, a file called cargo packages .rb, and that is going to be that's going to be where all of the different endpoints are defined. That GitLab will be available to consume from the Cargo client. And I'm not familiar with Cargo actually really at all, so I don't know if it works where you set like a remote for the registry, and then from there the Cargo client makes requests to that remote. But this is where all of those types of endpoints will live and be defined.
okay.
And then from there, it kind of just depends on what functionality is being built, and maybe as you start to work on one given endpoint, I can kind of peek in and suggest putting certain things in certain places. Like there's a services folder that will make sense for a lot of items, but really that API folder is the starting point for everything for the most part.
Okay. So it's EE services API.
I think it was EE lib API.
Lib API. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I got it here. Okay. Cool.
And that's where, you'll see there's a Conan packages file, a Maven packages file, and an NPM packages file. So the other ones live in there as well.
All right. Perfect. And so there was also discussion about this being if it's a community contribution, that it might be in the basic GitLab package, or?
Yeah, I think that's what we're pushing for. If it's a community contribution, to put it into the core edition.
Core edition, that's what.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it doesn't seem right if you're going to contribute it and then it gets just put into the enterprise edition. So that'll be something. Right. Yeah, that's the direct. We're trying to drive more community contributions, and so that's a way that we're attempting to do that.
Okay. And
I think. No, go ahead, Renee. I'll let you finish. Sorry for jumping.
Oh, yeah, sorry. If it's a community contribution and it goes into core, does it still enter the EE folder, or is that like managed separately?
No, yeah, actually in that case, I wasn't thinking about that. It would not end up in that folder. So okay. Yeah, so I'll have to, I'm pretty sure it's just the non-EE equivalent. So I think there's probably just a lib API folder.
Okay.
And I'll have to look at that a little bit, but yeah, and one other aspect of where things kind of go, if you start sort of just building out and it all kind of just expands into one big file, that's not a huge deal, and it's easy to kind of just extract a few things here and there into other files. So don't worry about it if things start to get, if you're not sure where things go at first, just go ahead and throw it in, and we can move things around as we figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, just one point I wanted to add, regarding contributions to EE, we have community contributors that specifically contribute to EE code base, because there are like users of EE, or I mean, you actually don't even need a license, of like EE license to contribute. Like you just can't run any tests like locally, for example. But I mean, it's really up to Tim. Like he so decides which goes into like a EE for the large part. But I mean, as a community manager, I'm not going to complain that like we're going to make as many things available on Core. So I won't stop Tim. But I mean, if you have any issues with licensing and stuff, I mean, let us know. But in general, whether it's like a Core or EE, like I mean, we accept contributions everywhere. So just wanted to point that out. And then I don't know if you're in the Google Doc that's part of the agenda for this call, and I added some resources at the bottom of the page. Hopefully that's helpful. And I mean, you mentioned GDK. I mean, completely being transparent, this is no secret. Like a GDK is always work in progress. So there is like instability sometimes. And if you go to that Gitter channel in particular, there are a lot of, I mean, somebody just posted a question about GDK, so you can see that. I mean, even if like Steve's offline, for example, like you can ask other people to help out, like if you have issues with GDK. And there are a couple of videos that was posted on our Unfiltered channel, and also on the MRs. Like like again, like I'm sure Steve and people on his team will be responsive. But if you want to just reach out to a wider audience, we have a group of people called merge request coaches. I mean, if you don't understand the pipeline failure message, for example, I mean, any one of those individuals would be more than happy to jump on. We have people all over the world, so I mean, the time zone shouldn't be an issue.
Okay.
And just out of curiosity, Renee, where are you located?
I'm located in Montreal.
Oh, okay, cool.
Montreal, Canada.
Awesome. All right.
So cool. For you mentioned testing. I'm guessing I'll have to write some unit tests as well. And for testing and also seeding for a demo project for me to play around with, how would I go about starting that?
Yeah, so for testing, with Ruby and Rails, there's a test framework called RSpec that is pretty widely used, and it's the main test framework that we use in the GitLab code base. And so that'll be something you'll have to get into, and that I'm happy to help out with once we have some idea of the first few bits of code that we'd like to write tests for. And I can point you to some good resources for kind of learning that and seeing examples of that. And then as for seeding, we actually just finished, I think it might be now merged into the code base, adding seeding for some of the other package managers. And so it'll be pretty straightforward to hopefully follow that same pattern, I hope. There is I'll find the file of where the existing ones live, so you can take a look at it just to get an idea.
I just linked it in the chat and added it to the...
Cool, and it looks like, yeah, Tim has added it to the chat. There's a link to the merge request that added those. So that'll kind of point you to the file that contains the seed logic.
Cool. Perfect. I'll look this up when I start coding. Right. Awesome. I think that's pretty much all I have so far. If I have like other questions, it'll pop up.
And one thing that I might suggest is, even if you don't have any code written or anything, go ahead and open a merge request off of that issue, and just as a place where you can ping me personally or the package team, which I think is just at package stage, And then it's a place where we can, start chatting and talk and respond to any questions you might have asynchronously whenever you happen to be working and one of us happens to be working on it.
Yep. Okay. I'll set that up.
Cool.
Well,
So,
awesome. It was great meeting you, Renee, and look forward to working with you on this. And I will really look forward to getting that cargo implementation done, because I feel like the Rust community is so active, and I'd love to get them on board to GitLab and start using it a bit more and support some of their workflows.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Awesome. Thanks. And I think, Tim, we're planning on another office hour in about a few weeks during our hackathon. So I'll provide a link here, Renee, if you're interested. So obviously like to have as many community members join these office hours. I'll post it on the chat window.
Great plug, Ray. You're doing,
yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. Plugging my own event, I do it really well. So no shame. No.
No shame to be had.
No, not at all.
All right. Well, thanks everyone. I'm going to close it, and I'll talk to you all soon.
All right.
Pleasure
Thanks.
meeting you.
Have a good one. Cheers. Bye.
Have a good one.
You too. Bye.